My girlfriend told me she was pregnant and a few days later she said she had an abortion, all as a joke. She destroyed my dreams to becoming a father and am devastated now. I'm 27 male and my GF 28 female have been together for the past 2 years. It's my first serious relationship, and she's the only person I truly loved. I mean really love. I have 4 siblings and a mother. I like my siblings but I do not love them and I hate my mother, because she was abusive physically and mentally. I've never been close with them and I always thought that if you are related by blood, you don't have to love that person, but I knew one thing: if I'll ever have kids I will love them no matter what. Becoming a dad was my most important dream. Not just a father, but a daddy. A man who will do anything for his family, who will watch when his kids takes their first steps, when they say their first words. I just wanted to be with them, to look at them, to listen to them, but now I don't know if I still want it. My GF told me she really wants to have kids in the future because it was her dream too, to become a mom, and she's more than happy to have happy family. We like to make pranks with each other, but they were innocent jokes like doorway tape pranks, hiding small plastic spider in the drawer. It all happened in this week. In last week we lived like usual. There was no indication that my girlfriend was planning a prank on me. On Thursday after I've come back from work, she was sitting concerned on our living room. I immediately noticed it and I sit next to her and asked what happened. She then pulled out a pregnancy test and told me I'm pregnant. I couldn't believe it. I was more than happy. I hugged her tight and kissed her. She was still concerned, but I was telling her all excited that we will be parents and we both know it's big responsibility but we will make it together. Then she asked me to not tell it to anyone yet, because she won't do it personally. I said it's not a problem, because on Sundays we often had dinner at her parents' house, so I thought she will tell them then. I was the happiest man alive. Before I found out about pregnancy I was looking for engagement rings. I wanted to ask her to marry me, but I decided to wait, to buy her ring what she deserves, and do it like it should be. I was excited all day and wanted to spend all time with her, but she was not in the mood. It was hormones, so I didn't push her and let her be alone, assuring her that I am there if she needed anything. When we got to bed she was still a bad mood. I've hugged her, massaging her belly, telling her that I loved her and we would make it. Before we fall asleep she told me she need to take day off work. I said it's fine and if she will feel bad to call me and I will come from work earlier to be with her. The next day I woke up before her and like usual went to work, leaving her a note that said you will be perfect mother. I wanted to assure her that everything would be fine. I texted to her a few times during work, but she didn't respond. I was a little worried and decided to talk with her later. When I got back home from work, she wasn't at home, so I texted to her and called few times, but she didn't respond. I've called to her mother and sister to ask if they knew where she was, but they didn't. I decided to wait a few hours while I tried to call her many times. After 4 or 5 hours she came back. I went to her and hugged her asking if everything is fine and she told me yes, now everything is fine. She told me we need to talk, so we sit and I was waiting what she wanted to say. At the beginning she said that she was afraid of the pregnancy and knew that she would not be able to be a good mother. I interrupted her by telling her that she would be a great mother, and as an example I gave her how close she was to her niece, how wonderfully she took care of her, and how much she loved her. She told me this is a different situation and she doesn't want to be mother yet, and with a little smile she told me I had an abortion. I couldn't believe it, so I asked her to say it one more time, and once again she told me she had an abortion. My heart was completely broken when I heard that and my eyes started to water with tears and I've asked why? Why did you do it? You said you wanted to be a mother. I fell weak and fell on my knees next to sofa and started crying. I reached out and placed my hand on her stomach, still asking why? I looked her in the eyes and said how could you? How could you kill my baby? I saw it in her eyes she was regretting it, but she wasn't answering. For last time I asked screaming at her why did you kill my baby? Then she started to crying. She was saying it's not like that, and it was all a prank. I've started crying even harder and asked her if she's still pregnant, but she denied. She said she never has been pregnant and all of it is supposed to be a joke. She hugged me, saying she was sorry and she didn't think I would react like this. After a few minutes of crying and saying she was sorry I asked her why she did that, why she thought it would have been funny, but she couldn't respond to me. I've pushed her away and walked out saying I need to be alone. She wanted to stop me but I told her to leave me alone and I walked out. I've took my car and drive off. I've stopped at parking place about 40 kilometers from place where I live. All the time my phone was ringing. I knew it was my GF, but I didn't want to talk with her, so I turned on airplane mode. I unfolded the seat so I could lie on it. For a few hours I was laying on it and I wasn't thinking about anything, but I fell asleep. I woke up when my alarm started ringing. At first I wasn't sure where I was, but after a few seconds I remembered what happened yesterday. I started to cry again. I was cold, because temperature was about 10 C. It was a Saturday but I had to go to work. I calmed down after a few minutes and went to work. One of my friends saw something bothering me and asked what happened, and because I'm not the type of person who shares my problems with others I've just said I've slept bad and have a bad day. He said shit happens, gave me a smile and walk on his way. After my shift I was driving home and during ride I cried again. I was always afraid of becoming a burden to someone, so I decided to sleep again in my car. My phone was dead, so I was just laying on car all day, thinking about what happened. Every time I was trying to imagine myself as a dad I couldn't and each time I cried. My heart was shattered, and I didn't know what to do. Today I've decided to come back from home and talk with my GF. In next few days I will give update. I don't want to say to her, I don't even know how I will react when I will see her. But I know one thing, she lost my trust, because she knew it was my dream to be a dad and I don't know if I can forgive her. Update. My girlfriend told me she was pregnant and a few days later she said she had an abortion, all as a joke. She destroyed my dreams to becoming a father and am devastated now. I don't know how to begin this update. First, let me tell you some background story. When we started dating, I was at my lowest. I had a job, but I hated it. Thanks to that job, I met her. It was a food truck, and she would order from it sometimes. She was always nice and cheerful, and she's also beautiful. I've never been confident, and I was a little overweight, about 13 kilograms/30 pounds, so I decided to put my number in her order because I was too shy to ask her out. She texted me the same day and asked if I wanted to go on a date with her. At the time, I was renting a small and crappy flat, so we went for a walk and then to a restaurant. We had a lot in common: books, movies, music, and we liked the same food. We had a great time together, and she quickly became my girlfriend. Through a few months, she showed me many times that she cared for me and loved me. She was the first person who believed in me, who told me I could do it, no matter what it is. Thanks to her, my confidence went up, I lost weight, and gained some muscles. Thanks to her, I believed in myself too. I changed jobs, with much better pay, so I could afford things like vacations, a better car, or nice gifts for her. When she had a bad day, I always wanted to cheer her up by cooking a nice dinner, buying flowers, talking, or just spending time with her. We shared our dreams, and we had one dream: to have a family. She has a nice family who quickly accepted me. Her mom was happy because she saw I cared about my girlfriend, and her dad finally had a son to have a beer with. She also has an older sister, 33F, who is a single mother to a daughter, 5F. I really liked her family and enjoyed the time we spent together. After many years, I could finally see how a normal family functions. I really enjoy spending time with her niece. She's a very cheerful and playful kid. She quickly started calling me an uncle, and I'll be honest, I was very happy about it. We never had a fight, neither of us raised our voices. We never did anything that could hurt us. Through the years when I was living alone, after moving out from my mother's, I understood that couples can solve most of their problems by talking, expressing their feelings. I saw that a few relationships of my friends broke down because of a lack of communication. When we started spending more time together, we talked a lot. She was the first person who really knew what I was feeling, how shitty my life was. She pulled me out from a shithole where I was spending my whole life. We never argued during our relationship. I once raised my voice to her. This was while I was working at my old shitty job. I came back from work in a bad mood and just wanted to rest. I know she wanted to make me feel better, but at the time, I needed some alone time. She tried to tickle me. I asked her to stop several times, but she wouldn't give up, so I shouted that I wasn't in the mood and to leave me alone. She apologized, as did I after it. I've never raised my voice at her. One more thing, I want you to know that in my country, abortion is illegal, and the closest country with legal abortion is a 5-hour ride. I was sure she could not make it in time, so that's why I believed her. It was a prank. For people who said she didn't want a baby, she did want one. She told me many times, and we had many discussions about it. We agreed that we would try to have a baby after the wedding, but if somehow we had a kid before, we would keep it. She told me even if I changed my mind, she would keep the baby, like her sister. Her sister knew she would be a single mother because when the father of the child found out, she left her. We talked about how we would raise them, what behavior we should avoid, and how I was concerned about how the bad environment during my growing up could affect my parenting. She told me if we need to, we will go to therapy, not just me, but both of us together. It wasn't only my dream, we both wanted it. I wouldn't waste time with women who don't have the same goals as me. Now, what happened when I came home after 2 days gone was more messed up than I can imagine. When I walked in, she wasn't there, but her mom was. When she saw me, she immediately came to me and hugged me tight. She said many times how sorry she was and how my girlfriend shouldn't have done it, and that the joke was the most disgusting thing she could imagine. I hesitated to hug her. Before, I hugged her like a friend to greet her. She was holding me tight, and after a few seconds, I hugged her back. A few minutes passed, and we were standing there hugging. It was the first time I experienced motherly love. We sat down, and she told me that my girlfriend explained everything to her. She told me something that completely surprised and shocked me. She told me my girlfriend planned it with one of her best friends. Let's call her B, yes, like a bitch. When I heard this, I couldn't believe it. But after thinking about it for a while, I remembered the rumors from my friends that B was responsible for the breakdown of her previous relationship by asking one of her friends to try to sleep with my girlfriend's ex. Since I have only lived in my current city for 3 years, we mostly have mutual friends, and I heard from them that she was talking some shit about me behind my back. I knew she talked shit behind everybody's back. B knew I wanted to be a dad, like every closer friend of ours. My girlfriend's mother told me that she told them everything, showed them evidence of how she prepared for this joke. She told me that my girlfriend showed her the messages from B and that she bought a fake pregnancy test from a woman who was actually pregnant. She bought it online, so she had all the conversations. During our conversation, she held my hand the whole time, and I saw real concern in her eyes. Then I realized that she probably cared about me more than I thought. I knew they accepted me as their daughter's boyfriend, but I wasn't sure if they would treat me like a son. My girlfriend's mom told me she called them crying. Her dad was sure I had hurt his daughter and was mad. When they came to our flat, she was sobbing. Before she explained what happened, she said hundreds of times how she messed up. They were mad at her. She didn't tell me the details, but when her sister found out about it, she was furious and probably said every insult she knew. She also told her to start praying because she wouldn't be surprised at all if we broke up. After that, I smiled to myself and asked where she was. Since I had not given any sign of life for 2 days, she went to report my missing to the police. She stayed in our house just in case I came back. She pulled out her phone and texted, "I'm safe at home." After a few minutes, she and her dad came back. She looked like a mess. When she saw me, she started crying and rushed to me and hugged me tight. She kept saying how sorry she was. She told she was afraid I would do something stupid because of her. I asked her why she had done that. She started crying louder, saying she didn't know and it was a mistake. I asked her if she really had an abortion, and she denied. I told her to prove it because I don't believe her. She showed me that she bought an online pregnancy test with a positive result, and when she opened messages with B, she was shocked because B had deleted every message from the last week. I could see on her phone that B deleted messages. My girlfriend showed me all parts of what she wrote to her, and when I was reading them, she remembered that she sent me screenshots with all the proofs. I was reading all the messages she showed me, and I was pretty sure she didn't have an abortion, but I still had doubts. Next, I looked at the screenshots, and it clearly showed me they both planned it. I read that it was B's idea, and I came to the conclusion she just wanted to destroy our relationship. My girlfriend told me what she remembered from her texts, like how she should act, and she even suggested to record that. After it, I told her I was tired and needed to get some rest, and we will talk tomorrow. I plugged my phone into charging and went to sleep. I woke up about 2 hours later when my girlfriend wanted to lie down next to me. I said simply no, you sleep on the couch. She stood there for a few seconds and said, okay, I'll do what you want. She took a pillow and walked out of our bedroom. On the next day, I texted my girlfriend not to read and answer calls from B because I wanted to check something. I called B and asked if my girlfriend really had an abortion or if it was a joke. She told me she had no idea what I was talking about. I played dumb and thanked her. I was thinking a lot about it, and I came to some conclusions. When I came back, my girlfriend and her sister were already waiting for me. I sat next to her and started talking. I told her that the chances of us being together were small, very small. I told her there would be a lot of work ahead of us if she wanted us to be together, but first, I told her what was non-negotiable. I demanded that she cut off contact with B, completely without any exception. I know that they know each other for almost 20 years. I asked her if she knew why I required this. She nodded and had tears in her eyes. I asked her to explain it to me. She told me that she understood that B was trying to destroy our relationship, and she heard rumors about her ex, B, and her friend. When she asked B about it, she denied it and put all the blame on my girlfriend's ex. After it, she was sure that the rumors were true, and she should have cut her off a long time ago. She assured me that she would cut herself off from anyone who would try to destroy our relationship. I told her that I called B today, and she denied she knew about this prank. I looked at my girlfriend's sister, and she looked pissed. Next, I told her about the second thing, therapy. We will go there as a couple and individually. I know myself, and I'm sure I will try to use it to gain something, and that is one of the reasons. I told her to prepare for weeks, even months, of cold treatment, but I know I will forgive her, but I need time, but she could be sure that I would never forget it. I told her that I would remember it for the rest of my life, and I am almost sure that I will remind her of it more than once. She started crying again. We spent a lot of time talking about various other things. I asked her if she was at work that day, and she told me she was at work like usual. I asked for her car keys, she handed them to me, and I told her I'd be back in a few minutes. I went to her car and checked the record from that day. I saw that she actually went to work and then to her parents. I spent the next half hour watching videos and looking at where she was riding. Nothing special, work, shop, her parents, sister. Before I came back home, I heard through doors how my girlfriend's sister was screaming at her about how she messed up. I quietly opened the door and went inside, still listening to the screams of my girlfriend's sister. I entered the room and saw that my girlfriend had her head between her knees and was sobbing loudly. Even after what she did, I can't look at how she was crying. I walked over to her and told her sister that enough was enough and to leave us alone. I still love her, so I told her sister that enough was enough and to leave us alone. Even after what she did, I can't look at how she was crying. I walked over to her and gave her a hug. She hugged me back, saying over and over again how sorry she was. We spent the rest of the evening hugging and talking. We found a therapist, and we got an appointment for next week. Next day, we met with a few friends. They knew about the whole situation because when I was missing, my girlfriend told them everything. We talked with them about cutting off completely from B and not participating in events where she will be. They weren't surprised. I told them that I had heard several different rumors from B about a few of them, and I know she was talking shit behind my back. I didn't say what I heard because it didn't matter. I knew it was all lies. Whenever I was alone with one of them, each of them told me that if I wanted to talk, I should let them know. I know most of you expected me to dump her, but I just can't. I decided to stay with her because I truly love her, and I don't want to throw it away. I'm going to talk to her family. I would like to be closer to them, get to know them better. I can only believe that this joke will only strengthen our relationship. I've read part of the comments because I didn't expect there will be any. I only read some of the comments because I didn't expect so many of them. I didn't expect there will be such a shitstorm there. Thank you all for your kind words but also for your criticism. I know I need to work on myself too. As for B, I don't know when, but she will regret it. I didn't expect to cause such a shitstorm in the comments. This is the first and last update.